stand in the middle.
He should do.
No, it's now. It's going to be nice portrait. Quite distracting.
Is that a screen? It looks like a door.
No, it's door. It's looking to the sky, isn't it?
Sky. Oh, okay.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Discuss common services, no matter if
Two clear, so straight through next navigation, please.
it's great to be here, that UK is hosting this great event.
together.
Microphones.
Oh, yes. So first of all, I'm very thankful to the Prime Minister for hosting this discussion. And also let me mention Macron's initiative to bring together leaders to discuss matters of importance. I think we come together now at specifically important time
Good morning, Prime Minister.
How are you?
Very fine. Thank you. Congratulations on your election. Big result.
Two delegations.
We had time.
Sorry, say again. Which country? Luxembourg next. Luxembourg, please. Thank you. Sorry.
Morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Blenheim. How are you? Straight to the end of the list will be there.
don't.
Photographer and videographer only. Videographer only. Everyone else in the car. Photographer and videographer only.
Where should I
Morning. Morning.
Yeah, 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 of course it is.
Put the move on them and then put it out.
Hello, Keir. Should we go for a run?
It's a mile long.
Yeah, but it's quite nice. Look, it's good for intervals, man.
Right. So you leave it on the way up? And then when you're done, straight up. Great.
¿Cómo está? Creo que voy a hablar allí delante de los podcasts. Si fuese en castellano,
Espera,
bueno, vamos a hablar.
Y la última de las cuestiones que quisiera plantear es la de la desinformación.
Two, we see is clear, draw hold one, is clear, so straight through.
we have a positive vote in favor of Ursula von der Leyen. As Prime Minister of Spain, I can tell you that we have been working with her and with the former Commission quite well. Regarding the meeting today, I think it's important, first of all, that we convene these kind of meetings. The topics that we will discuss are quite important for our citizens. Migration, of course, Ukraine, the support to Volodymyr Zelensky and Ukraine regarding the war, and of course the further steps on the peace talks. And finally, all these debate that we're facing, the Western democracies, which is disinformation and fake news. I will be very active in this roundtable on disinformation. So I think that we will have very important topics to talk about, to discuss, and topics are quite important for our citizens. So I think it's a quite important meeting, and of course I'm looking forward to have my first bilateral meeting with the new Prime Minister Starmer.
With the UK?
No. I mean, besides, of course, we have a closer ideological approaches to politics. We've been, very close and very collaborative and cooperative with the previous administration, and looking forward to have the best one with the new administration.
Will you be discussing the recognizing Palestinians with the other members?
No, I think it's not in the topics that we will discuss. Of course, we will speak about Ukraine, and regarding Palestine, I think that from Spain we've been so far quite clear in our political position. I think it's important that we stop this war, that we reach an agreement to the release of the hostages, and of course to open the borders for the humanitarian aid, and to give a political horizon to the Palestine people with this peace conference, international peace conference, and the recognition of the state of Palestine. Thank you very much.
Migration with the UK. Do you want the UK to join?
I'm convinced that in all fields, including migration, we can see how we can deepen the ties, how we can coordinate much more together. Migration is not only a challenge for the United Kingdom and for the European Union. It's a broad challenge, it's a global challenge at the world's level, and we'll have the occasion today to address this topic as well. Thank you. This is good that in recent months you see the possibility.
Yes,
Photographer, videographer?
Yeah, this is that's all.
Just media on the way up and all the way to
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
And I just returned from the NATO summit in Washington, and we took quite important decisions regarding the support to Ukraine and strengthening of the eastern flank of NATO. But I think the problem is not the decision making. The problem is that we are not able to deliver. We take the decisions, but unfortunately the deliveries come much later. And this is a problem. Ukraine badly needs ammunition and air defense systems right now. And this is the reason why we should support Ukraine more if we really want Ukraine wins this war.
Are you worried about the prospect of a second Donald Trump presidency?
Well, I had the experience to communicate and to deal with President Donald Trump in previous term in office, and I have to say that we took some very important decisions within NATO to strengthen the alliance and to improve our coordination between the allies. So I really look forward to bring the arguments why U.S. presence in Europe, U.S. presence in Baltic region is the best deterrence against the aggression of Russia. And I think it contributes to the stability of the whole region. So my task, and I think the task of my colleagues, will be to convince, if it will be the new administration in the United States, to continue this policy of transatlantic bond, because it's very important for the security of Europe, and Europe is well aware of that.
What could the UK and Europe do to deliver more effectively for Ukraine?
Well, I know about the decisions which were recently taken in United Kingdom. I welcome them very much. And I think the decision to provide the military support, financial support to Ukraine, if I remember correctly, 3 billion British pounds, is sufficient. But again, I am talking about the commitment not only to take the decisions, but to deliver. Lithuania is not a very big country, but we already provided 1.2 billion euro support to Ukraine, cumulative support to Ukraine, which actually means about 2% of our GDP, and we are committed to deliver 0.25% of our GDP each year annually as a support to Ukraine. So I think other countries should follow this example, and of course they can do even more, especially the countries which have very strong defense industries, can produce military equipment. And I have to say that Russia is really concentrating the efforts to produce as much as possible. And this is a problem. They outpace our production capabilities, even if we are in one team. Russia produces more than we all united. And this is the problem. We have to increase our capabilities to work closely with our partners, especially like-minded countries, and support Ukraine more decisively. Thank you so much.
The one today is, of course, our strong support for Ukraine. and all our efforts to ensure peace on our own continent.
What can Europe do to more effectively help Ukraine?
To be very honest, a lot. It's all a question about delivering, and they need air defense. They need more ammunition. They need less restrictions on the weapons delivered by allies and friends like Denmark. And they, if you ask me, they need the possibility to not only to defend themselves but to push Russia back.
Are you looking forward to working more closely with the UK?
Yes, I am, and we have always had a close cooperation. But I look forward to know the new government. Thank you.
For us European countries to convene and to talk with the new British government. Obviously, a lot of topics to talk about, improving, deepening the relationship between the United Kingdom and the other European countries. We have a lot of things to discuss about migration, about energy, about improving our trading relationships, and also related to the rest of the world. We see that this is a moment where a lot of discussions take place, for example, in the United States, which are internal political discussions, but obviously which could have an impact on the security in Europe. So a very fitting moment to talk. To me, the conclusion is that the European Union and European countries should stand on their own legs more than ever. But that conclusion we already made a few months ago. But this is a moment to make it happen.
Are you hoping to persuade the UK government to join some existing European deals on migration and other topics?
That's one of the things we will discuss today. I think what is important is that the agreements that we already have made post-Brexit, that those are being implemented in its totality. The trade and cooperation agreement, the Windsor framework, and so on. That's a good basis. Let's put that completely into practice and do it the way it was intended. And then, of course, in parallel, we can discuss other topics. But that's really two things that we need to do in parallel, and both need to happen. Good? Thank you.
Mr. Prime Minister, is there a new deal to be done with the UK communications?
Well, let's do two things in practice. First of all, we have the post-Brexit agreement that needs to be implemented in its entirety, and philosophical way the Windsor framework, the PCA, and so on.
Roberto Bella, good to see you. Well done with the fantastic results. We're so happy for you. We're really happy for you. Really? Very good. Well, we shall have a long history now. Yeah, we did. You're very welcome. Thank you so much. Fantastic Palace. Yeah, it's amazing. We need someone really important. Wait, there is some good.
That's a gem. Good to see you again after Washington.
It's very good. You're very welcome.
I think it was quite good meeting. Of course, I
Yes, we can.
Very welcome.
Well, I think she's delivering her speech now in European Parliament. There was a broad majority in the European Council proposing her as for a second term. It will be up to the members of Parliament to decide. But obviously, we support and about the Council supported her, and I hope that the European Parliament will be convinced by the plan she's had. I think she's an excellent president in her first term, and I would be looking forward to continue working together. Yes, I think the proposal that has been made by the European Council responds on the quality of the persons and on the balances that we need. So it would be a good thing if that is being followed by the European Parliament. That's really up to the members.
Yeah. Come on.
So, good morning. It's great to be back in the United Kingdom, and I look forward to attending the meeting of the European political community. NATO is, of course, a transatlantic alliance, but as you all know, this transatlantic alliance is the cornerstone for European security. So therefore it makes absolutely sense that NATO is part of this community. The place to the time to stand for freedom and democracy is now, and the place is Ukraine. And NATO allies are stepping up our support to Ukraine. We have agreed to establish a command to coordinate and provide security assistance and training for Ukraine. And I'm glad that today I can announce that the command will be operational in September. It will be 700 personnel in Germany, with a 3-star general as the commander, and it will provide the support and the security assistance to Ukraine and coordinate the efforts of NATO allies. Today we will also discuss how to defend our democracies, both from external threats but also from internal threats. And we have seen a pattern of Russian hostile actions against NATO allies with cyber attacks, sabotage, disinformation over the last months. And allies are taking measures against these hostile actions, both individually and collectively, with more intelligence sharing, with increased awareness, with stepping up the protection of our critical infrastructure, including undersea infrastructure. We have established a new center to protect critical infrastructure here in the United Kingdom, and allies are also taking actions individually with legal processes, arrests across the alliance. The purpose of Russia's hostile actions, cyber attacks, sabotage against NATO allies, is to coerce us from providing support to Ukraine. But we will not be coerced. We will continue to support Ukraine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You have to wait till we go to Hungary and press this here. The next is mine. I speak a language which you don't understand, sorry for that. Jól állunk, hát haladunk vele. Nem egyszerű, látja, van szembeszél. De egyelőre minden lépést megtettünk a tervek szerint. Ugye a mi koncepciónk lényege, ami eltér a hivatalos koncepciótól, hogy az Európai Uniónak nem az amerikai demokraták külpolitikája. Georgia is a wonderful country doing very well. The government is, I highly appreciate. They try to maintain their independence and sovereignty under a very difficult circumstance. Unfortunately, in Europe, many leaders do not understand how difficult for a country like Georgia to maintain sovereignty to all directions. But what you are doing, I appreciate very much.
On migration, what more can Europe do to tackle the issue of migration?
Don't let them in.
Yes?
Sorry?
Keir Starmer, what do you think of him?
I just met him at the European Championship final. It was only 5 minutes. It's not enough to make any evaluation. But I congratulate him. I hope we will have a good cooperation between Hungary and the UK.
What's your message to Ukraine?
Sorry?
What's your message to Ukraine at this summit?
We are with you. Sorry?
Europe, your other states, prime ministers doesn't understand you.
But I try to explain. You know, it's a long walk. It's a long way to go.
Why do you think they
Because they are more pro-war countries. They believe that they can destroy militarily the Russians, which I don't think so, because I think that there is no solution of this conflict on the battlefield. They hope so, but I don't. I don't believe at all. So because I know the Russians, I know the Soviet Union, I know the Ukrainians, I'm belonging to a neighboring country. I know the whole context. It's impossible to find a solution on the battlefield. We will lose every day thousands of innocent people, you know. So to lose the human lives is the most precious thing we can lose. And we do it every day, thousands and thousands. We have to stop it. That's as a neighboring country. This is my opinion. Solution is not on the battlefield. Solution is on the negotiation table. Ceasefire, negotiation table. That's what I try to convince them. But you know it takes time.
Why are they not doing that, do you think, sir?
They are human beings, you know. Every human being insists on his original idea. It's difficult to shift. But what my job is to convince them to shift from the pro-war policy to a pro-peace policy. Sorry.
Very well. Good to see you here. The weather and the environment. The environment is quite amazing. It's real. And now I'm going to that location. So how long is this? 1 mile. It's 1 mile. It is pretty impressive.
So both as a Prague.
Prime Minister. Good morning. Good morning, sir. You are just waiting from here. Very kind. So you live here? Unfortunately, no. pity for you. But second one was the next one. I was a semi-professional player. Even as Prime Minister playing in the third league. Can you imagine that the audience, shouting on me?
Yeah, I can imagine. But thank you very much.
much. Thanks, UK, for the invitation. And for us, it's very important to be here for Ukraine, especially this period, tough period for us during the war. For us, it's very important to maintain unity in Europe because always this unity leads to strong decisions. And for us, it's very important, such strong decisions. I will focus on it, on these decisions, long range. First of all, air defense, energy, and this summit.
What are you hoping for from the new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer?
We'll have meeting. I count on his support because really UK demonstrated leadership from the very beginning of Russian attacks and all the strong steps and some not simple steps. Always UK began. So I count on my meeting. I will have meeting with Prime Minister, and also bilateral one, and also I will have meeting with the government. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Morning, Prime Minister.
Good morning. Very well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the Yes, yes. Yes, yes, I know. I read. Yes, I know. Yes, it will work. Very important, for this recession. Quick. Yes.
You're about to get. You're afraid.
That's why this is the right word.
President Macron, good morning, Mr. President. Are you looking forward to a new relationship with the UK?
I do hope so. I think we have a lot of perspective, and I will have the opportunity at the end of the day to have a bilateral session with the Prime Minister. So I'm very happy, and this is a great opportunity for a reset and a lot of perspectives.
Is there a new deal to be done on migration? Can you stop the boats crossing the channel?
Look, I think we do our best, and we did increase our efforts. It's obviously always very delicate humanitarian situation, so our willingness is constantly to improve the situation.
Mr. President, do you expect to make a migration deal with Keir Starmer?
This is my point. There is no silver bullet, because we do know the situation, we do our best, we did improve the situation during the past few years, and we will follow up the efforts.
Are you expecting more boats sinking in the channel overnight? How urgent is a new deal?
I mean, the situation is always very delicate. I think our cooperation to prevent this migration before the arrivals in France is the most efficient one. This is why such a format is very efficient as well, because you do discuss with a lot of countries preventing this smugglers and all this trafficking activities. I will have to
Your Excellencies, we will begin to move into the opening plenary in 5 minutes. The opening plenary session will begin in 5 minutes. Please make your way to the listening room next door for the screening. Your Excellencies, please make your way to the plenary room. The session is about to begin. Red overlay holders, please remain in the plenary lounge until called through to the plenary room. Your Excellencies, please take your seats. The opening plenary session is about to begin.
Good to see you, my friend. How are you? Good to see you again. Saving the day.
Your Excellencies, please take your seats. The opening plenary session is about to begin.
Sorry, but not.
Good to see you. Congratulations. Table number 2.
Your Excellencies, please take your seats. The opening plenary session is about to begin.
Enchanté. Enchanté.
Enchantée.
Directeur de communication de la Premier ministre.
Je pars dans 15 jours. Je suis née à Paris, mais j'ai quand même eu une très longue
Oui.
mission. Une très belle mission.
Good morning, everyone. Friends, fellow Europeans, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to Britain and to the splendour of Blenheim Palace. I hope you enjoyed the weather, the drive, and the architecture of this beautiful place. Thank you so much for being here. It is, of course, the birthplace of Winston Churchill, and we stand for the values that he embodies around the world. Liberty and democracy, yes, of course, but also defiance and resolve in their defence. And today, as a new storm gathers over our continent, we choose to meet it in that same spirit, and we choose to meet it together. And that is the choice of the government that I lead, now 2 weeks old. We want to work with all of you to reset relationships, rediscover our common interest, and renew the bonds of trust and friendship that brighten the fabric of European life. And the task is urgent because our security is on the line. Every day Ukraine fights to protect not just the Ukrainian people, but the European people, a continent where our belief in freedom, democracy and the rule of law was hard won, and that wants to live in peace. So, President Zelensky, in your struggle to uphold those values, we salute you once again. Have no doubt we will stand with you for as long as it takes. Because I was struck by something that you said, in fact, last week during the NATO summit, when you said Ukraine needs more air defence, and then you used these words, before the new school year starts. And that really struck me. Because returning to school after the summer break, that should be a moment of joy, of excitement for children. New uniforms, new exercise books, seeing how much their friends have grown over the summer holidays, and reuniting with friends. How could anyone consider that a target? So, our first task here today is to confirm our steadfast support for Ukraine, to unite once again behind those values that we cherish, and to say we will face down aggression on this continent together. Because the threat from Russia reaches right across Europe. Many of us have seen attacks on our own democracy, people targeted on our streets, military planes entering our airspace, ships patrolling our coastlines. And in Moldova and the Western Balkans, the threat is obviously even more acute. So this is the moment for us all to do more. And I'm proud of Britain's role in maintaining European security through NATO, through the Joint Expeditionary Force, and more. We stand together, we guard Europe's frontiers, and now we must find new, more ambitious ways of working together, firing up our industries, meeting not just the military challenge, but the challenge to our economic, cyber and energy security as well. I take a practical view of how the UK can meet this moment. I'm not driven by ideology, but by what's best for my country. And so we will strengthen our existing relationships and we will build new ones. This includes resetting our relationship with the EU, because I believe that the UK and the EU, working together as sovereign partners, are a powerful force for good across our continent, for peace, for security, for prosperity, for all our people. We've shown this, I think, in the G7, where we are using Russian assets to ensure they pay for the devastation they have brought to Ukraine. We're placing unprecedented sanctions on Russia and reducing our collective dependence on Russian oil and gas. And I think we should take pride in the steps that our continent has taken on this. But now we must see the job through. We must use this moment to accelerate towards clean energy, support Ukraine to meet its energy needs ahead of winter, and tackle the ships that are helping Russia to evade sanctions. We know what we can achieve together, but it's also time that we bring this resolve to another challenge facing our continent: the vile trade of people smuggling. Let's be frank, challenge is the wrong word. It is now, I think, a crisis. As we speak, as we gather here, a criminal empire is at work in every country represented here today, profiting off human misery and desperation, prepared to send infants, babies, pregnant mothers, innocent people to their deaths. And last week, 4 more souls, and actually last night another one, were lost in the waters of the English Channel, a chilling reminder of the human cost of this vile trade. And this summit is an opportunity to set a new path on illegal migration, to transform the way that we work together on border security and law enforcement, and to say together, no more. And in the UK, our new Border Security Command will work in partnership with you. We must combine our resources, share intelligence, share tactics, shut down the smuggling routes, and smash the gangs. Before I came into politics, I was the Director of Public Prosecutions in Britain, a job I held for 5 years, and I saw and participated in the work that can be done across borders on issues like counter-terrorism, sophisticated gangs working across our borders, and we use those same techniques to take those gangs down to ensure the safety of citizens across Europe. And so I, for one, simply do not accept, and will never accept, that we can't do the same with the smuggling gangs, that somehow they're the only gangs that can operate across Europe with impunity. I just never will accept that, having been involved myself in taking down of terrorist gangs. So we must do more together. We must also do more to tackle the problem, of course, at source, to recognise the root causes. We know what they are: conflict, climate change, extreme poverty. The crisis we face is the fault of the gangs, no question. But the decisions people take to leave their homes cannot be separated from the wider issues. It is global inequality, and that deserves our attention as well. So let me say something here very clearly. We are resetting our approach here. This government will not commit taxpayer money to gimmicks. We are here to serve our country in the national interest, in pursuit of solutions that will actually deliver results. And more than that, we will approach this issue with humanity and with a profound respect for international law. And that's why we scrapped the unworkable Rwanda scheme on day one. And it's why we will never withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights. Churchill himself was among the chief architects of the convention. It was built on the blood bond of 1945 and our shared sacrifice for freedom. I myself first read about the principles of the convention and international law in a law library in Leeds, 40 years ago now. And that inspired me in everything that I have done since. And I draw strength from it and value from it every day, because they speak about the dignity of every human being. And that word dignity is there in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, one of the most important words in it. Dignity of every human being, the very essence of what it is to be human. And that is our legacy. And so the nations of Europe must lead again today. Together we have the opportunity to make the world safer, fairer and more prosperous. So let's use this moment to do more for Ukraine, defend our democracies, secure our energy supplies and tackle illegal immigration. It is a pleasure today on behalf of my country to extend a hand to all of you, to say that under my leadership, Britain will be a friend and a partner, ready to work with you, not part of the European Union, but very much part of Europe, not focused on the differences between us, but on the values that we share, united by our determination to defend them, and certain about what we can achieve together. And now, I would like to invite a true champion of European freedom to address the plenary, our friend, President Zelensky. Slava Ukraine.
Героям слава. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Thank you for your kind words about us, about Ukraine, about our fight, and thank you for confirming that relations and cooperation between Ukraine and Britain, as well as between Britain and all of Europe, remains crucial. Dear friends, dear partners, we are now at Blenheim, and indeed this place is associated with Winston Churchill, and however this palace is not solely connected to him. Among many, it is him who we remember with special esteem, and it is he who adds grandeur to Blenheim. We hold dear Churchill's jokes and remarks, though we probably wouldn't want to be the subject of such biting humor. We return to his speeches and measures our own principles against his decisions, aspiring to similar heights. Yet, it was not this that created his legend. It was his ability to be a steadfast barrier between history and cowardice. And that is the key reason people still look up to him. Bravery made Churchill Churchill. Bravery won the greatest battle of his life. It was the battle for Britain and, of course, for all Europe. Will Europe be a continent that neither surrenders nor sells itself to tyrants? Will Europe be a continent of nations and communities, not a few Führers and their hatred? It was resolved then, and we all see how much the bravery of previous generations has won for us. They secured this Europe for us, which has been peaceful for so long. And now our bravery and cooperation must achieve no less, so that the children of our nations can someday look back at us, at what we've done, at what we've chosen, at what we have promised, and see the pillars of their peace, their security and their prosperity, just as we see it when we look back at the most famous person from Blenheim. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear leaders, I will focus on 3 points today. First, we have maintained unity in Europe and are acting together, which means that Putin has missed his primary target. He has failed to create division in Europe. The more decisive Europe is in preserving this unity, the long-lasting peace we will ensure. Putin cannot sustain relationships with truly strong leaders, and this is our advantage, but it remains an advantage only as long as we are united. He may try to approach you or go to some of your partners individually, trying to tempt or pressure you, to blackmail you so that one of you betrays the rest, weakening our unity. Yes, everyone chooses
for themselves how to act, of course, and what legacy to leave. But if someone in Europe tries to resolve issues behind others' backs or even at the expense of someone else, if someone wants to make some trips to the capital of war to talk and perhaps promise something against our common interests or at the expense of Ukraine or other countries, then why should we consider such a person? The EU and NATO can also address all their issues without this one individual. Second, the reality on the battlefield is more convincing than any abstract deliberations. We have stopped the Russian advance on Kharkiv, period. Putin has sacrificed tens of thousands of his citizens, but has achieved nothing significant. This was made possible by the bravery of our warriors and the bravery of our partners, who have lifted limitations on the use of Western weapons along our border. Did this lead to escalation? No. On the contrary, it blocked Putin's attempt to expand the war. Did Putin have any response? No. Even when the Russian missile strikes children with cancer, as happened recently, it only repeats the evil we have already seen from Russia in this war. So we must act as brave as necessary to achieve results. We can steer this war towards its just ending with the power of our weapons and our diplomacy, and we should not fear these capabilities. The more effective our air defense is, the more helpless Putin will be. The fewer restrictions we have on the use of effective weapons, the more Russia will seek peace. Military airfields from which Russian jets take off with bombs against our cities, our people, our children, and the launch sites of Russian missiles, all these must be destroyed. This will not only eliminate some targets, but will also reduce Russia's capability to continue this war. The missiles and drones are not bearers of state sovereignty, so there must be a collective will to shoot them down, just as it was within Iranian missiles and drones. I appeal to all of you, to all leaders who can contribute to the required bravery. These steps must be taken. And I address primarily United States, UK, France, Germany, Poland, and other friends. Your bravery can be decisive for peace. And third, diplomacy. Everything that adds to our collective strength is useful for bringing peace closer. And I thank all of you for supporting the opening of negotiations for Ukraine's membership in the EU. This proved that even in the most difficult circumstances, the EU can keep its promises, and it gave Ukraine moral strength. The people fighting for Ukraine and for Europe should feel that Europe is becoming closer. And I also want to thank those of you who firmly support Ukraine on its path to NATO. Although the Ukraine's membership has not yet united all 32 NATO states, we have achieved that the complete elimination of this security deficit in Europe through Ukraine's accession to NATO has become irreversible. And what we must do at most this year are peace summits. I'm grateful to Switzerland and all the partners who helped us organize the first peace summit. It was a success for everyone who wants a just end to this war. Now we are preparing for the second summit, and soon working groups will begin on the points of the peace formula. These are energy security, food security, and the humanitarian group that will deal with the release of prisoners and the return of deportees. Later, there will be other groups, and I ask all of you to support these efforts, join the common work, and choose for yourself the points of the peace formula where you can show your leadership. And please, this is very important, convince the partners around the globe that they also have to be brave regardless of threats and blackmail. Their joint efforts are needed for the sake of peace. When the aggressor loses, the world wins. This has happened repeatedly in human history. It must happen this time too to the Russia's aggression. Thank you very much. Thank you for every life saved by your support. Thank you for the invitation, Prime Minister. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you, Vladimir. I would now like to invite the President of the Swiss Confederation, Viola, to address the plenary.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is an honor for me to address you all at this fourth gathering of the European political community. Switzerland values the EPC as a space for Europe, defined by geography and based on a common idea of what is Europe. The EPC is valuable as a platform to have open, inclusive and frank discussions about the challenges we face. These challenges are of unprecedented complexity. We need to address them together as Europeans. I thank Prime Minister Starmer for the kind invitation to share my impressions of the Summit on Peace in Ukraine that Switzerland hosted a month ago. With the summit, we aimed to address the most pressing challenge our continent faces. Looking back, I believe it is fair to say that we achieved what we had aspired for. For the first time, voices from all corners of the globe came together at the highest level to talk about how to achieve a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. The Bürgenstock Summit represents the only initiative that enjoys broad support across all continents. More than 100 countries and international organizations joined the discussions. This global support is essential in order to take substantial steps towards a just and lasting peace. Other peace plans don't enjoy the same kind of endorsement. One reason may be that the UN Charter as the central foundation for a future peace is missing in some of those plans. Thanks to this broad support and the concrete propositions we discussed in Switzerland, we managed to lay the foundations for the path towards a potential peace process. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank all of you for your tireless efforts to mobilize for the summit and for your active contributions prior to and during the conference. Your support played a central role in building this foundation and the momentum the summit was able to generate. I thank the UK, the EU, and in particular the staff of the Council Presidency, the Commission and the External Action Service, and also countless others who are present here today for the excellent cooperation. Despite the different points of view that were shared on the Bürgenstock, we managed to agree on a common vision. This vision is summed up in the Bürgenstock communiqué, which has been signed by 87 countries so far. Additional countries continue to sign the communiqué, even some of which were not present at the summit. This text can provide a basis on which further discussions can take place. With the summit, we managed to take a first step on the challenging path ahead towards a peace process. We are currently discussing with Ukraine and key partners what the next steps could look like. And we are working to use and sustain the momentum to elaborate such concrete steps, including on the issues identified in the Bürgenstock communiqué. Firstly, any use of nuclear energy and nuclear installations must be safe, secured, safeguarded, and environmentally sound. Secondly, Food security must not be weaponized in any way. Attacks on merchant ships and ports and along the entire route, as well as against civilian ports and civilian port infrastructures, are unacceptable. Thirdly, all prisoners of war must be released. All deported and unlawfully displaced Ukrainian children and all other Ukrainian civilians who were unlawfully detained must be returned to Ukraine. What is already clear is that the active engagement and support of our European friends, be they the EU, its member states, or our other European partners here today, remain crucial. Switzerland welcomes the follow-up conferences on the 3 issues that President Zelensky just announced. This is exactly what we had worked and hoped for. Switzerland is ready to continue to play an active role in this process. We will particularly focus on strengthening the bridges that we have been able to build to the Global South and China. We have been getting very positive feedbacks on the summit, even from colleagues in the Global South who have so far refrained from signing the Bürgenstock communiqué. It is now essential to reach out to them, take their concerns into account, and motivate them to join the Bürgenstock communiqué. I count on your support in this outreach endeavor, and I very much look forward to continuing our close cooperation with all of you, including with Ukraine, as European partners standing together in solidarity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Viola. I'd now like to invite the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette, to address the plenary. The floor is yours.
First of all, thank you, Keir, for your hospitality today, and I commend you for making Russia's invasion of Ukraine and its wider implications for all of us the focus of this plenary session. I don't believe Russia sees its attempts at grabbing Ukraine's territory as the final step, rather as just one step on the way to realizing its imperial dreams and ambitions. We cannot allow Putin to redraw the borders of a sovereign country by force, not in Ukraine and not anywhere else on the globe. After the invasion of Crimea in 2014, we tried as Europeans to reason with Russia, to negotiate with Russia, based on the hope that Russia would respect the rules that we play by. But they did not respect the agreements made. Our common strategy of negotiating on their terms did not work. Russia was not to be trusted then, and Russia is not to be trusted now. And so, appeasement did not work then, as appeasement will not work now. And this brings us to a very decisive moment for Europe. Supporting Ukraine against Russia's war of aggression is about our collective security and values. It is the challenge of our time. We have said for 2.5 years now that we cannot let Ukraine lose. I think we need to be open about the facts here. In order for Ukraine not to lose, Ukraine needs to win this war. There is only one winner in the gray zones, and that will be Russia. If anything, that should be our collective learning from Russia's land grab in 2014 and the following negotiations in the Normandy format. Peacetime processes are too slow for wartime tasks, and there has been too much hesitation. Even though I'm also very proud of all of us being united for such a long time, I still think there has been too much hesitation. But we still have time to make the right decisions and take the right actions. And therefore, first of all, I think we have to support Ukraine in its peace process. And there can be no discussions about Ukraine without Ukraine. As William Allen White once said, peace without justice is tyranny. But a just peace is not a possibility when only one side is engaging in honest. Russia could end this war today. It could just pull out its troops and peace would be instant. And we must not be naive about the broader picture either. I think we have to be very aware of the confluence of interests between Russia, North Korea, and Iran, and yes, unfortunately, also China. If we allow, as Europeans, if we allow Russia to be rewarded of its aggression, of its murdering thousands of people, we create a new problematic incentive for other land grabs worldwide. Secondly, we must deliver the necessary military support for Ukraine, and I think we have to scale up our own military capabilities. To use your own words the other day, compassion is not a weapon. It will not protect Ukraine. It will not protect the kids of Ukraine. Only our common actions will. The decisions we made at NATO summit last week were, I think, important. They built the necessary bridge to Ukraine's future membership of NATO. And this includes bilateral security commitments that have been concluded since the NATO summit in Vilnius. Seen together, I think they provide certainty and a long-term perspective for the flow of support. But my main message today is that Ukraine, and thereby Europe's future, is decided right now. We need to secure all necessary deliveries to Ukraine urgently. Ukraine needs air defense, ammunition, more heavy weapons to push Russia outside Ukraine's territory and to put an end to Russia's relentless attacks. I think we have been talking too much about defending Ukraine. Now it's time to push Russia back. Seeing as today we find ourselves in the birthplace of Churchill, I will use a befitting quote from him. It is not enough that we do our best. Sometimes we have to do what's required. And in doing so, I think we need to think creatively. On the Danish side, we have worked very hard to support production of military equipment directly, internally in Ukraine. You know best what is needed at the battlefield. The equipment, to be honest with you, dear colleagues, can often be produced cheaper and more effectively in Ukraine. So by joining forces and pooling resources, we can ensure that the flow of the needed military equipment corresponds to the needs of Ukraine. Another example is, of course, the Czech initiative. We hope to deliver almost 500,000 artillery shells before the end of this war, this year. But we all know around this table that there are more available ammunition stocks that could be released to be used in Ukraine. I think all of us has to spend substantially more on our national defense. We have to find new ways inside the European Union to ensure this. And all of us have to invest substantially more in our defense industry, and we need to do it now. And we have to stop going about this task in front of us with a peacetime mindset, not in Ukraine, but the rest of us. As the old Roman saying, if you want peace, prepare for war. Finally, and let me end by this, with some few words on closer European cooperation, because this dimension also plays a crucial role in fostering greater European security. It goes for Europe and for Ukraine, and it goes for all participants at this meeting. Just one example, we cannot overstate the importance of the European Union accession negotiations started with Ukraine and Moldova. I would like to congratulate both you, Volodymyr, and Maya, for the great achievement you have already made. Thank you, Keir.
Thank you, Mette, and I look forward to building on those powerful words that we've heard from all our speakers this morning. Now we move to the family photo. You should have received an envelope which tells you your position. I think there is also
closer? If you could look at the white puddle.
They can do it.
There's too many Greeks. It's like G7. Matt, are we getting taken back to the media centre?
Matt?
Still live. Have you finished? Thank you. Thank you.